Welcome to the Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast. Week one of the Georgia high school football season is in the books, and we had some exciting games all over the state. I had the opportunity to call 5 of them in the Corky, Kell, Dave Hunter Classic, including Houston County's thrilling 31-24 win over Brookwood at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Coming up in this week's podcast, we're going to talk to Bears head coach Jeremy Edwards about that exciting win. Plus, we'll take a look at my week one rankings, top plays, and a look at this weekend's biggest games coming up this Friday night. First order of business, as always, please like, subscribe, and follow. Let's start the podcast by looking at this week's honorees. And my team of the week is going to be from 6A and third-ranked Buford with their 20-13 win over Milton, the two-time defending state champions. And I know a lot of you are saying, Buford, really? Yeah, Buford. That was a tough game. Not only were they playing a team in the Eagles that had won 26 games and back-to-back state championships, they were opening up their brand new $62 million stadium on national television, no less. And there's a lot of anti-Buford fans out there. A lot of people were pulling for them to fall flat on their faces. And with everything that I already said, now Milton, here's a Milton team. They've won 26 games in a row, back-to-back state champions, and they come in as an underdog. So they get to play the underdog card here. And Buford had a lot of challenges, a lot of pressure on them to win that game, and they pulled off the victory. So let's face it, by pretty much any measurement in my book, it's the biggest win in the state. So the Buford Wolves are my team of the week. All right, let's take a look at the players of the week, and we'll start with the quarterbacks. And we got a number of nominees here. Ryan Maxwell of Houston County is a nominee. Also, Ben Musser of Prince Avenue, William Jackson of Camden County. But my quarterback of the week is going to be Turner Stevenson for his performances in Aquinas' 52-35 win versus Athens Academy. Stevenson was 18 of 23 passing for 348 yards and 6 touchdowns. So Turner Stevenson of Aquinas is my quarterback of the week. Running back of the week, going to go with Andrew Beard of Prince Avenue in their 40-17 win against Callaway. 13 carries for 143 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 6 for 71 receiving, and 1 touchdown. So 214 total yards and 3 touchdowns for Andrew Beard, and he is my running back of the week. Wide receiver of the week, we go back to that Aquinas game, and Jack Rhodes, who recently committed to Virginia. What a game he had. 10 receptions for 228 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jack Rhodes of Aquinas is my wide receiver of the week. My athlete of the week, Cam Barner of McEachern. Did you see this kid? He's a sophomore. He had 3 total touchdowns, 2 special teams touchdowns, a 98-yard kick return touchdown, scored on a fake punt, and also on a 39-yard touchdown catch. All totaled, 2 carries, 71 yards, 2 receptions, 46 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Cam Barner of McEachern is my athlete of the week. Offensive line of the week, going to go back to Aquinas. They rolled up a ton of yards in that game. Aquinas had 520 total yards, 348 passing, 172 rushing. Great performance for that Aquinas offense led by their offensive line. Offensive line of the week belongs to Aquinas. Defensive lineman of the week, going to go with Richard Dice of Douglas County in the Tigers' 21-7 win against North Gwinnett. 10 tackles, had a forced fumble, and a blocked punt. Linebacker of the week, Max Brown of Jefferson. Listen to this performance against Marist. 16 total tackles, 7 TFL, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery for the Dragons as they opened the season with a 19-0 victory over 4A state finalist Marist. Shut them down. My cornerback of the week goes to Lasiah Jackson of Lee County in the Trojans' 45-7 pasting of Warner Robins. 9 total tackles and a PBU for Lasiah Jackson. He is my defensive back of the week. Place kicker of the week, Josh Scroggins of Colquitt County. He kicked a 37-yard field goal as time expired to lift the Packers to a 27-24 victory over Benedictine. My punter of the week goes to Taylor McCall of Jefferson. 6 kicks for a 41.2-yard average and a long of 55. in that aforementioned victory for Jefferson over Marist. My kick returner of the week, Jordan Smith of Hoco, had a 96-yard kick return touchdown on the opening play of the game in that Bears victory against Brookwood. And, of course, he is a 4-star Georgia Bulldogs commit, rated as high as the number 6 safety in the entire country. My overall player of the week, though, Jace Jordan of Houston County. What a performance he had in their victory against Brookwood. He had 19 total tackles, 15 solo tackles out of those 19, 3 TFL, 2 quarterback sacks, and to top it off, he had the game-winning touchdown catch in the final seconds of that victory at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Ball at the 17. Thomas in motion. Maxwell looking, firing, and it's caught. Touchdown Bears!
Wow. They had the perfect play call for that situation.
Jace Jordan, who has 19 tackles today, caps off his afternoon with maybe the game-winning touchdown catch.
Unbelievable.
Welcome in Houston County head coach Jeremy Edwards. His Bears, big 31-24 victors over Brookwood in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic on Saturday. Most exciting game of the entire Corky Kell Classic. And, Coach, thanks a lot for being with us. What was that bus ride like back home to Warner Robins after that victory?
An eventful, fun 2-hour ride back home. A lot better than being on the other end of it, I'll tell you that. Kids worked hard, they earned it, and it was good to see the hard work, come to light and really kind of highlight our program.
My player of the week here on my podcast is Jace Jordan. He finishes with 19 total tackles, 15 solo, 3 TFL, 2 quarterback sacks, and he had the game-winning touchdown catch in the final seconds of the game. There were a lot of great performers in week 1 of the season in the state of Georgia, but show me somebody who had a bigger game than Jace Jordan.
Yeah, and it couldn't happen to a better kid. He works very hard. He's committed to Samford. Maybe an inch or two by all the recruiting gurus out there, too short, but you're getting a football player. So I think he opened up a lot of eyes, and certainly couldn't be more happy for him. And Ryan, Maxwell did a heck of a job for us, and we're just excited for him as well.
You talk about Jace being an inch or two short and going to Samford. I know another guy who was an inch or two short and went to Valdosta State and ended up being a Hall of Famer in Jesse Tuggle. So it's not all about the measurables. Maybe getting you in the door is about the measurables, but ultimately it ends up about how you play the game.
Absolutely, and he's got a nose for the football and just an all-around player. We play him both sides of the ball, and he plays a lot of special teams, and he's unselfish, and I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from him. He's on our leadership council, so he sets a great example for our young guys.
Of course, the other huge play, and he had a ton of huge plays, but the other really huge play was Jordan Smith's 96-yard kick return touchdown, opening play of the game. He also finished with 9 solo tackles from his safety position, where he's a 4-star safety rated as high as number 6 in the country. How did that kickoff set the tone for your team coming out of the locker room? And, of course, a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans, because he's a commit. So you had a lot of fans other than just Hoco Bear fans pulling for him on that kickoff return.
Yeah, Jordan Smith is always advertised, as you and I have talked about before. But, I was kind of shocked that they kicked it to him, to be honest with you. I probably wouldn't kick it to him, and they kicked it to him the whole day. So he had a lot of return yards. Obviously, he got loose on that one and took it to the house. But, yeah, a heck of a way to start. That whole thing, with games before you and after you have limited time to warm up. And so it happens really fast. And so to get going fast is crucial in that type of environment.
Yeah, it's really like a basketball tournament in that your next game up, your second game of the day. So you hit the floor, you only have a couple of minutes to get some shots up and get loose and start your game. So it really is unlike anything else you really encounter during the football season.
Absolutely. And we were very blessed to be able to be invited and play in it. And it's a great honor for the last 2 years. And, it'll be a lot of good memories that those guys can take for a lifetime. But at the same time, it's in the rearview mirror now. So we're trying to move on to Effingham County.
Absolutely. Now to Ryan, great respect for what he did. 15-year-old, can't drive yet quarterback, as you pointed out in your post-game interview on Saturday. 23 of 32, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns in his first varsity start as a sophomore, quarterback rating of 111.3. And I don't pretend to understand how they come up with the quarterback rating, but I know that that's really good, and he was really good.
Ryan Maxwell is he works very hard. He's a two-sport guy, plays baseball here at our school, and very talented, young. He is 15 and played on the freshman team last year. We had AJ Hill, and he's done a great job of coming into that role, at least in one game. We got to stay consistent, but I like the way he prepared. I like his mentality. I was really impressed by watching him all Saturday. Just how cool and calm he was. It never got too big for him. Something that we talked about all week is, making your first start against Brookwood in the Mercedes-Benz wasn't a easy task, but I was so happy for him, and he definitely earned it.
Replacing A.J. Hill, quarterback who's now in Memphis, signed with the Tigers. And a lot of people, looked at that as a negative for you guys. And obviously, I mean, that's easy pickings. You go from a guy that's a 4-star quarterback to a sophomore who's making his first varsity start, and that's going to be a question mark. But, I mean, I think he really answered a lot of your questions. You may have other questions, but your quarterback position is not a question going forward.
Well, it helps. He's got a great supporting cast. I mean, we've got an array of wideouts that he can get the ball to. Our offensive line does a great job of giving him time. They did get to him some and knocked him around a little bit, but he was able to get back up, so it shows he's tough. And then our run game really was slow in the first half, but it got going. So we want to try to be as balanced as we can, and I think that the run game helps. But he can do, what we need him to do, and he's only going to get better. And I'm excited for his future.
Yeah. Speaking of the run game, that's my next question. You faced a next man up situation early when Austin Stinson went down with an injury. And then Colin Anderson, who's been a running back for you in your program, you actually had him starting at cornerback, came back over to the running back position and gave you a huge pick-me-up. One of the biggest plays of the game. Like I said before, a bunch of huge plays, a 73-yard touchdown run. He finished 8 carries, 101. Talk about what Colin brought to the table for you and an update on Austin if you can.
Yeah, Colin goes by CP in our program, but he's he started corner. He plays running back. He's one of 3 that we rotate through there, and he had to really do double duty because we not only did we lose Austin for the game, but Trey Leary, our corner, also went down. So he didn't get very much rest. I'm sure he slept good Saturday night. I know he got sick on the sideline and had to get some, put some fluids back in him and get rolling. But, what a warrior. I mean, and my head freshman coach, Coach Sample, also coaches track. He reminded me that that's why we run track at HOCO, because he was able to pull away from the guys on that 70-plus yard touchdown. But great kid, not huge stature-wise, but, heck, you can't measure his heart. And the way that he goes to work every day, he's kind of our vocal leader. Austin's going to be fine.
Good.
He went in the second half, but I just didn't feel like, if he wasn't 100%, I didn't want to risk it for a long season. And but he should be back ready to roll Friday night at Effingham.
Good. I'm glad to hear that about Austin. I was a little afraid that it might be something serious, so glad that it isn't. In your pass receiving game, MJ Mathis and Jeffrey J.T. Thomas ended up being your top 2 receivers. Mathis, 4 for 87 yards, had that 35-yard touchdown catch and run. Most of it was run. Turned around and beat 2 defenders to the sideline and scored the touchdown. Impressive play by M right there. And then Thomas was more of your possession receiver, 8 catches for 54 yards.
Yeah, MJ Mathis is the most underrated receiver in the state of Georgia. I don't know what else he's got to do. 64 catches last year for over 1,000 yards. And then, he did exactly what he did last year again on Saturday at the Benz. He's good with the ball in his hands. He can make plays, yards after catch, like you mentioned. He's fast. He's just he's real smooth the way he attacks the game, and I think the sky's the limit for him. Again, he's also committed to Samford, so I think he opened up some eyes, or woke some people up, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, and JT is great, and he's proved throughout the summer when MJ had a little bit of an injury that he can kind of be another go-to guy, and only a junior, and obviously his brother Jordan Smith is super talented, so he's got good genes. But yeah, I'm excited for those guys, and then Kayvon made some plays for us, and he's giant out there and looks great in a uniform. It doesn't get much better than that, but yeah, those three guys, and then our tight ends, and it's just we just got to keep guys healthy. You know how it is, and I think they'll continue to get better and better each week.
Yeah, Consiero looks great in the uniform, I tell you what, and he's going to have big games. I mean, there's no question. He's going to have big games. And Pettigrew is another guy. He's a monster. He's an absolute monster at tight end. I can see how you're going to be able to utilize that guy over the course of the season as well. And by the way, I did have Mathis on my podcast 5A All-State team, so he's not underrated to Matt Stewart. So just letting you know.
That's right. And I appreciate that, man. I know you know who he is. I just got to get everybody else to know.
Yeah, well, he keeps playing like that. Everybody else will know. How about your offensive line? You totaled 346 yards. That's a decent number. Pretty much kept Maxwell clean. And I thought a pretty good showing against a 6A defense.
Yeah, we were real concerned about Brookwood's front. The D-line was their strength, and that was a concern for us. I mean, we were starting, some new faces over there, and but I feel like our seniors, Brandon Stokes, J.W. Fight, I think they did a great job of keeping everybody just calm during the game. Some early jitters. We really didn't get the run game going till the second half, but we made some adjustments. My offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, Kelly Chastain, did a great job of, recognizing some things we need to adjust at halftime, and it proved a difference on the ground. But, yeah, those guys they work really hard. And again, it's another position group. We need to stay healthy. It's high school football. You got what you got. And but I'm super excited about the way they go to work every day.
Yeah, and I noticed Kelly's down on the sideline. He's very active in those when you have those timeouts. He's right there in the huddle. So rather than have your OC up in the booth like some teams tend to do, you got your guy right down there in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, with him coaching the offensive line, when we get off the sideline or get off the field, he's got him over there on the bench, and we got the TVs like everybody else, and we're making adjustments, and he's constantly coaching in practice. When we have special teams, a lot of guys think, well, that's a moment to get some water or whatever. And we hydrate our kids.
Sure.
But they are working nonstop from whistle to whistle and from bell to bell. They're going. So he does a fantastic job, and we've been together for several years, and he's my guy for sure.
I thought a huge key to the game that was the play of your defensive line. The stats won't necessarily bear that out for them individually, but they kept the pressure on the Brookwood quarterback all day and freed up your linebackers to make plays, which is the way your defense is designed to be anyway. Your linebackers, Jordan, Ard, Brown, and Paul, all totaled 6 TFL and had 3 quarterback sacks.
Yeah, our D-line played out of their minds. Coach Teisler, our defensive line coach, has done a great job of rotating a lot of guys through. Jacoby Bryant, he gets most the attention, and it's well deserved. He is a load at nose guard. He makes us better every day in practice. He works very hard. He's got that dog mentality about him, and he's only going to get better and better. He's going to be a big-time player at the next level. But he really, really does a great job of being unselfish and, like you said, freeing up the linebackers to go to work and get all those tackles.
The mantra for your team this year is house money, and you wear T-shirts that state that. You're big on that kind of thing and the swag that goes with it. Explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, we this summer we started talking about, playing free, not worrying about being judged or, basically the kind of the story that I gave the guys was, if I was to give them $100, send them to a casino of my money, They're not going to worry about blowing
Yeah,
my money.
exactly.
They're going to have a good time, be loose, and take chances. But when you're spending your own money, you're a little bit more reserved, and we don't want them to play that way. We want them to play free. We want them to have fun. Don't worry about making mistakes. Don't worry about being judged. Just go out there, do what you can do. You're a talented group of guys, and that's been that kind of our motto. We'll carry that into every week, and we put it on shirts with our logo, and they love it. They've eaten it up, and so we just keep carrying that motto on.
Well, you're great with the swag, and I still got my Hoko Bears hoodie that I wear when it gets a little bit cooler. So anytime you want to send me that house money T-shirt, I'll be happy to wear it for you around
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely, Matt.
Yeah, final question here. Coach John Ford's Effingham County Rebels, your next opponent this Friday, and you'll be on the road. It'll be their season opener, and I guess we could debate all day which is the better, to have a game under your belt or to have a game where you just sat and watched the other opponent, which I'm sure they did all day Saturday. I would prefer personally to have the game under my belt, but they returned their quarterback, Tucker Perkins, who's a pretty good quarterback, 2,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 6 picks last season. Their top returning running back, Jameer Doe Davis. Top returning wide receiver is Travis Hunter, not Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter, and he's pretty good. And on the defensive side of the ball, linebacker Duff Davis led them in tackles last year and had 9 TFLs. So the bottom line to all that is you don't get a breather for game 2.
No, and they gave us all that we wanted last year.
It was like a 44-41 game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they kept coming back, and it was all the way to the very end. And John's a great friend of mine, and he's going to have them coached up. I know he was at our scrimmage. I know he was watching on Saturday. He likes to pour mouth a lot, but he'll have those guys ready to go, and we got to travel well. That's a pretty good little ride for us, so that's going to be another challenge, 2 weeks in a row going on the road. But we're kind of used to that in the playoffs. It seems like we're always on the road, so we embrace it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Bring that up. I said that was going to be my last question, but you brought up the subject because it's one of the most peculiar and unusual stats in all of Georgia high school football, and maybe not just Georgia high school football, just all football in general. You guys have played 13 consecutive playoff games on the road. It predates you. Houston County hasn't had a home playoff game since 2015, pardon me. And basically, to have a home playoff game, you got to finish 1 or 2 in your region. And we've already talked about this before. You play in the toughest region in all of high school football in Georgia. There's no question about it. Region 2, 5A. So you got to finish 1 or 2 in your region to get a home playoff game. And really, to get a playoff game after in the quarterfinals, you got to be a region champion or just get lucky. So, obviously that's the goal this year. Do you feel like you can, get a couple of wins in the region this year and climb up that ladder and finally get a home playoff game, or does it really even matter to you guys?
Yeah, obviously, it matters. I mean, we've never played a home playoff game since Freedom Field was built. So to have Hoko have a home game at Freedom Field would be massive for our community, for our school, and just the buzz around our program. It's a gauntlet, and we don't play an easy non-region. And so, there's no off weeks, as we've discussed. And it doesn't matter if it's a team on paper that doesn't look very good. If they're an in-county foe, it's going to be a tough game. And so we know we're going to get everybody's shot. I know we got a bullseye on our back, and we kind of embrace that, to be quite honest. A couple of my coaches, they joke around. They feel like we're the Raiders. Everybody hates us. But, we just go to work every day and try to love on these kids and give them a program they can't live without. And, it's a lot of fun around here.
Well, you certainly have the color scheme to be the Raiders, the black and the silver, no doubt about that. And you mentioned the non-region schedule after Effingham this week, I think, and I don't have it in the right order, but Perry and Warner Robins are the next 2. So.
Yeah, we got Perry. Luckily, we would get them at home this year. We played them 2 years in a row over at their place. Then we go over to the MAC and play Warner Robins, and then we round out our non-region with Tift, who's much improved. I know Coach Littleton does a great job, and so and then we'll get into our region. So we'll see. We're going to try to take it one at a time, and we're not going to overlook this week in Effingham County. Got a lot of respect for him, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
And I'll also say this, that while you have played 13 consecutive games on the road in the playoffs, your record's extraordinary. You're 7-6, and I call that extraordinary because to be over 500 and play 13 consecutive games on the road and have a winning record in those road games, that's pretty phenomenal. So, Coach, keep up the good work. We'll be watching you this season and keeping up with the Hoco Bears. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it as always.
Houston County thrilling 31-24 victory over the Brookwood Broncos.
Always great to catch up with Houston County coach Jeremy Edwards and look forward to seeing what the Bears do here in 2025. Let's continue the podcast and look at my top 10 rankings. Let's start in 6A. Grayson remains number one, defending state champions, obliterated Collins Hill 51-3. You might remember that Collins Hill was the only team to beat them last year in the 2024 season opener. Looks like the Rams didn't forget about that and got a measure of payback here this past Friday night. Douglas County's number two, 21-7 winners over North Gwinnett in the Corky Kell Classic. Number three, Buford, of course, we already talked about their victory over Milton, and that's my team of the week. Number four, Carrollton, as they begin life without Juju Lewis. They defeated Woodward Academy in their opener. Valdosta's number five, North Cobb number six, McEachern at number seven. Wow, the Indians, a 50-17 victory over Walton in the Corky Kell Classic. Not surprised that McEachern won, just the margin of victory was certainly shocking. Number eight, North Gwinnett falling after that loss to Douglas County. Colquitt County at number nine after barely getting by Benedictine, who is, of course, a great team in 4A, and Lowndes checks in at number 10. They're new to the rankings. In 5A, Thomas County Central remains number one. Easy victory for them over Monroe. Langston Hughes defeated Westlake. They stay number two. Gainesville, number three in the rankings. They beat Marietta. Lee County at number four. They waxed Warner Robins opening week. That was a big loss for the Demons. Milton drops to number five. Sprayberry at number six. Houston County, who we've talked about, they're at number seven. Noonan, number eight. Coffee checks in at number nine. They beat Bainbridge. And Brunswick lost to Camden County, a 6A school, so they dropped to number 10. In 4A, defending state champs North Oconee remain number one. Cartersville at number two. Those two teams had no problems in their opener. Kell, number three, they had no problem. They won the Corky Kell game on Wednesday when they beat South Paulding easily. Creekside at number four. They took care of business against 5A Rome. Blew them out in the second half. Everybody really shocked at how Creekside just kind of dominated that game in the second half. Number five is Blessed Trinity. Number six is Benedictine. They had that field goal loss in the last second at Colquitt County, but that's not a bad loss at all for the Cadets to fall at Moultrie. Jonesboro, number seven. Marist, number eight. They got shut down by Jefferson. Had only 127 yards of total offense. Got shut out for the first time in, I think, in like 7 years. So Marist checks in at number eight. Ola at number nine. And Southwest DeKalb lost to Carver Atlanta. And so the Panthers are now number 10. In 3A, Sandy Creek, a winner over 6A East Coweta. So the Patriots remain number one. Calhoun's number two. North Hall at number three. Stevenson at number four. Westover 5. Cherokee Bluff at number 6. Peach County 7. LaGrange, a win over Cass in the Corky Kell. They're at number 8. Jefferson with that big win over Marist, now at number 9. And Jenkins fell to number 10 with their loss in the opening week. In the 2A rankings, Carver Columbus, number 1. No big surprise there. Rockmart at number 2. They got a big one coming up against Cartersville this week. Carver at number 3. Morgan County 4. Sumter County 5. Callaway took a big loss to Prince Avenue. It was a close game until the third quarter. They had all kinds of storms in that game. They dropped to number 6. Pierce County at number 7. Hatefield Charter at number 8. Thompson 9. And Burke County made the state finals last year, back in the rankings at number 10. In the 1A D1 rankings, Toombs County, defending champs, remain number 1, followed by Heard County. Thomasville, the Bulldogs, up to number 3. Lamar County 4. Northeast Macon lost their opener. They fall to number 5. Worth County 6. Fannin County 7. Fitzgerald 8. Temple 9. And Rabun County at number 10. In the D2 rankings, Lincoln County, the new number 1. After Bowden got beat, the 3-time defending state champions, the Red Devils, lost their opener. The Fellowship Christian got shut out 26-0, so Bowden falls out of the top spot. But don't worry about Bowden. This is the third consecutive year they have lost their season opener, and they've won the state championship 3 years in a row now. So Lincoln County, though, 11-time state champion, back there in the number 1 spot in the D2 rankings. Metters number 2, followed by Clinch County. Johnson County at number 4. Bowden drops to number 5, followed by Wilcox County. Brooks County took a big loss. They fall to number 7. Manchester 8. ECI at number 9. And Jenkins County new to the rankings this week at number 10. And in my private 1A through 3A rankings, Savannah Christian remains number 1. They had a 10-point victory over Whitfield Academy. Fellowship Christian 2. Hebron Christian checks in at number 3 after their win over 6A North Atlanta in the Corky Kell Classic. I had a chance to call that game. That was fun. Prince Avenue at number 4, followed by Calvary Day at number 5. Aquinas knocked off Athens Academy, so Aquinas, the Fighting Irish, jump in there at number 6, and now Athens Academy's number 7 right behind them. Wesleyan starts their season this week. They're at number 8, followed by Holy Innocents at number 9, and North Cobb Christian, new to the rankings, they check in at number 10. Had a great time once again working the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classics. A decade now I've been working that event to start the season. Let's take a look back at the top 10 plays from the games I had a chance to call, and that was 5 of the games. Number 10 on the list, Aiden Francois scores the game winner for St. Pius with 3:30 left on the clock.
Here you go. 1st and goal to go. Handoff goes to Francois. Gets into the end zone for the touchdown.
Number 9, Brookwood's 4-star running back Braden Tyson ties the game.
2nd down and 4. Handoff goes to Tyson. Tyson's going to get to the end zone. Touchdown, Brookwood.
Number 8, West Forsyth linebacker Drew Davis with the theft, and then great pursuit by Douglas Astro, Zaylen Green to track him down.
Lateral throw here. They're going to try to throw something downfield.
Looking downfield. Lost the ball.
My
Scoop.
goodness.
Davis takes off down the sideline. He's going to be chased down from behind by Olive.
Good effort play by Olive.
Actually, that's Zaylen Green. That's, like I said, one of the 100-meter sprinters they got on this team.
Number 7, Broncos quarterback Gary Chapman breaking ankles.
You and they'd be like, come on.
Well, he definitely looks the part. Seeing him in person.
Chapman running option. Fake the pitch. Chapman going to
play.
take it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Wow.
Number 6, West Forsyth quarterback Max Walraven goes up top to Mason Page.
11 seconds.
1st and goal. Going up top for the fade route. And a jump ball. What a catch for the touchdown.
What a play.
Wow. Mason Page climbed the ladder and brought it in for the touchdown.
Mason just had his Sports Center moment.
Number 5, St. Pius wide receiver Conley living the good life. And my apologies to Conley for calling him Connor, but it was an exciting play nonetheless.
3rd down and 8. Mosley wants to pass. He's going deep. Got a man
open.
break open. It's caught at the 15. Touchdown, Connor Goodlife. Connor living the good life, and St. Pius has the lead.
Matt, what a perfectly thrown ball by Dexter Mosley. Incredible throw.
The 0FG touchdown. Mosley to Goodlife.
I mean, you could not have asked for a better throw. And this is the part of Mosley's game that he worked on all summer.
Number 3, don't kick the ball to Hebron's Jarvis Mathurin.
To Caldwell or Mathurin.
They are.
And it comes to Mathurin. Got to watch out for this guy. Mathurin gets to the sideline, still on his feet, Crosses the 50. Mathurin might go the distance. And he does. Touchdown.
No flags on the play. That is a legit touchdown, Matt. Unbelievable.
Number 2, Bears safety and kick returner Jordan Smith excites the Hoco and the Georgia Bulldog fans.
Kickoff presented by Zaxby's, and Brady Palma boots it away. It's going to be taken at the 4-yard line. Jordan Smith on the return across the 30. Jordan Smith might go. One man to beat. He's gone.
What a way to start the season.
And number 1, are you kidding me? Game-winning touchdown catch by linebacker Jace Jordan to cap his 19-tackle day.
Thomas in motion. Maxwell looking, firing, and it's caught. Touchdown Bears!
You know, it's so much fun to call the Corky Kell, and announcers are just like players and coaches. We'd like to start our season at the Benz, and we'd like to finish the season at the Benz, and Lord willing, once again be calling the state championships there for GPB Sports in December. All right, before we close out the podcast, let's take a look at the top games to watch this Friday night. Number 5 on my list, 4A, number 4, Creekside, doing what they always do. Seminoles always travel out of state to find a bigger and big-time opponent, and they're doing that again this week. Seminoles will play at Seminole, the number 4 ranked team in Florida 7A, so that should be interesting. The Seminoles play at Seminole. Number 4 on my list, 7A, number 6, North Cobb playing at number 7, McEachern. This will be the 54th all-time meeting between these two teams. They were once region rivals. Warriors won last year after going 4 seasons without playing them because they were no longer in the same region, but now playing again for the second straight year. The Indians had won the previous 10 of 11 meetings prior to the Warriors winning last year. Number 3 on the list, 5A, number 9, Coffee at Ware County. This will be the 53rd all-time meeting between these two South Georgia rivals. The Trojans have won the last 2, including a 20-16 win last year in Douglas. Coffee beat Bainbridge in their season opener, and the Gators obliterated Appling County 55-7 in their season opener. That was Tucker Pruitt's debut as the Pirates head coach. Ouch. Number 2 on the list of games to watch, 6A, number 3, Buford at 4A, number 6, Benedictine. A year ago, the Cadets went up to Buford and nearly beat them. In fact, Buford had to score on a 2-point conversion in the last 2 minutes of the game to pull out a 29-28 victory. So now Buford travels to Savannah to take on Benedictine. And remember what happened just last week when Benedictine on the road at 6A Colquitt County nearly defeated the Packers in Moultrie. So we'll see what they do with Buford this time around. That should be a fun game. And number 1 on my list, 6A, number 1, Grayson hosting Rabun Gap. Now, this is a very interesting matchup in that number 1, Grayson, defending state champions in the highest classification in the state of Georgia, take on Rabun Gap. Now, if you don't know what Rabun Gap is, it's a boarding school up in the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Georgia. Rabun Gap Nakuchi is what they call it. But they don't even play in the Georgia classification. They actually play in the North Carolina independent classification. So it's a boarding school, so they attract talent really from not all over the country, but all over the world. So this will be very interesting matchup as Grayson takes on Rabun Gap, and that'll be my number 1 game to watch on Friday night. Okay, that puts a wrap on this week's Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Matt Stewart TV. I always have all kinds of interesting things that I post over the course of the week. This past weekend, if you'll go on my timeline, you'll see my GPB Sports preseason all-state, all-classification team. You'll want to check that out. Of course, you know I've been posting my individual class all-state teams throughout the course of the summer. Now, this is the all-state, all-classification team. And, again, follow me on Twitter at Matt Stewart TV. I got a special blog coming out this Friday that I think you'll find to be very interesting. Another all-state team, a little bit unconventional, but that should be a lot of fun. Still counting down the days until we kick off the 2025 GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia schedule. Can't wait for that. That'll be September 5th with defending 3A state champ and second-ranked Calhoun taking on 4A number 2 Cartersville. That is a huge rivalry game there just north of Atlanta. And so looking forward to that. You see one of those up there, see one of those Emmy Awards. We won an Emmy Award for that game a couple of years ago. Calhoun at Cartersville went triple overtime, and our coverage of that game won us an Emmy Award. So very proud of that. All right, that'll wrap up the Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast for this week. Remember, like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.